When you get an older tractor, you don't know what kind of work's been done to it. Hi, I'm Michael with Liberty Fall Farms. Today we have a Ford 3000 tractor that someone has come in and put a shutoff valve like you would put in the house going from your water line to your toilet bowl. They're using it for a fuel shutoff. And I bought the parts to put this back like it's supposed to be. Hopefully today we can get this done, and I'll take you along with me. This is the toilet valve like I was telling you. They have taken the old valve out and put a elbow that would screw right into the tank, screwed in the toilet valve, and then went from there with this rubber hose and over to the filter. I'm going to replace the elbow, the valve, and the line here. Originally, the fuel line on this tractor was metal, just like these here are. So on this one, I will not put back a metal line. It will be it'll be a soft, flexible type hose. So let me get everything set up and we'll get this taken off. Now, before we begin removing the elbow and the existing apparatus they have rigged up here, we want to drain this fuel tank. And to do that, I'm going to take a fuel canister and set it here on the bottom. And I will remove these two hose clamps that they have on this line to hold it. And then I will direct it into this tank here. And that should be able to let us clean out this tank. Okay, I hear it flowing. Looks like the original line was cut loose here, so they must have worn a hole and caused a leak. So I'm not sure how they have it connected here, but that doesn't matter. I have the valve that screws right back into the bottom of the tank. So we'll come back as soon as I get this all drained. Okay guys, we've got this tank drained. So now then we're going to remove this old valve that is someone has kind of rigged up. So well, first let's take off the existing line. And now you've got it on just with a 3/8. Looks like there was a little bit of fuel that was settled in this line. Sorry if I'm blocking the camera a little bit. I'm leaving this tractor on the trailer at the moment. All right, we've got that line off. Now let's yep, that's the water valve that would go to your toilet. And you can see the handle or knob, whatever you want to call it, was dry rotted and twisted off. And looks like there's a bunch of gunk in that nipple there. This here is just a 1/2-inch black iron nipple, or galvanized nipple, I should say. but actually I'm not even sure if it was galvanized. But now we've got to get that off, and let's see if I can even get this. I might not be able to get that up in there. I wonder how tight it is in there. All right, I got it. Yeah, that's pretty corroded. I don't know if you can see the amount. It's almost half filled up with crud. And I'm not sure, but it looks like, yeah, there's all kind of trash right there. I don't really care if I mess up this fitting, but it would help if I'd go the correct way. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of fuel in there that this was not allowing to drain out. Oh yeah, I'm not sure if you can see all of that, if it'll even yeah, that's a lot of crud down in there, which that was Teflon tape there that you can't really see real well, but anyway, that's a lot of crud. Just mess like that. So that ain't good. And it looks like there might be some grass in there. That's probably what most of that is old grass that's gotten into the tank from when somebody filled it up and out in the field. Okay guys, I've got the valve here, and first I want to go ahead and remove this line that was already coming out of the filter. So let's loosen that up and take it on off. It just screws in with a compression fitting. It's fairly dirty, so I'll try to wipe it off a little bit as I take it out. But you can see it's just a compression fitting. Now this is the replacement valve that is supposed to go in a Ford tractor. They're pretty much all the same, and it has a compression fitting on this side. Well, you can see, well, I don't know that you can see inside there with the camera, but it's beveled where it goes in and seals off. So I'm not sure if the threads on this would seal off in that tank. So I will put just a little bit of Teflon tape on there because I don't want to have to drain this again after I get it all put together. So I'd rather not need this little bit of Teflon tape than need it and not have it. Okay, you can see I just put a couple little wraps of Teflon tape on there, and let's see. Wants to start. I have a throttle cable there. It's in the way. The little turn here. Maybe I can get past it now since I turned it horizontal. You have to be careful not to cross thread this because If you do, you'll have all kind of leak problems, and it keeps wanting to cross thread. There it goes. Now I had to turn that valve back around to make sure that when I'm twisting that on there, that I do not grab the valve and bend it, the little knob. Let's see. Not sure. Well, I'll use this adjustable wrench. So maybe I can do this without being too much in the way of the camera, but it seems to be going on pretty well. Some of these parts don't cost very much, and when they're cheap, this valve, I think I paid like $15 for it at a parts house. So to me, I don't consider that very expensive, and I don't see that there's any reason to put in a house water valve that goes to a toilet, unless you're out in the middle of a field and it's on a Saturday evening or a Sunday when all your parts houses are closed and you've got something to a crop to get in. Now I could see that, but it's not that expensive. I would just go ahead and fix it like it's supposed to be. Now, instead of the solid metal line like would be on it, I have this flexible line. It was pretty cheap. It's got the fittings already crimped on, so it's pretty straightforward and simple. You know, you just stick it in there. It's got a compression fitting on it already. Let me get that started without it crossing. Okay. Now, I don't really like for it to be vibrating up against this metal because it will end up rubbing a hole in this new line. So I might have to turn my valve just a little bit more so I can zip tie it to the tractor, kind of like that. So, and actually that would be going I'd be loosening it back up a hair. Maybe that will be okay and not leak. We'll see. If I have to, I'll undo it and try later. But you can see, just thread it in. And let's see, I'm not sure. I don't think that was yeah, that's the same size. Just tighten them up. Now here, I don't know, I might do it on the back side so it'll be more apt to be protected from briars or snags or something like that. But ideally it would be a shorter hose, but this was the shortest hose that they had. It works a lot better when you don't drop your wrenches. And for some reason, I'm fearing that yep, my threads are stripped. That is an aluminum housing. And that should not be wiggling like that. Yep. Those threads are stripped. Hmm. Okay, let's see how this. I know the threads were stripped. This seems to be a little. All right. Okay, on this filter, I've seen it's got an arrow point going in here and also here. I don't know if it's on this particular filter, if there was an option for two different tanks or what, but I've got it fit in there, and I don't want to tighten it too much because I don't want to strip it like I did over here. But this nut seems to tighten in there pretty good, and it's got, looks to be a washer on the outside. So if that's the case, it ought to seal off. Okay guys, I've got fuel in the tractor. I actually ran out of battery on my camera, so while my phone was or camera was charging, I went ahead and I filled the fuel tank, checked for leaks. I had no leaks here. I do have a few leaks on my injector pump, and so whenever I cranked it, this tractor has a hard time starting cold. You have to give it a shot of ether and to get it to crank. Well, I had to bleed the injectors. So now that I have the injectors bled, I have a new fuel filter on there. I had to use a wrench to take this nut loose. Actually, it's a bolt that goes in and pulls the bottom of this fuel filter up. So whenever you have to replace the fuel filter on one of these tractors, just loosen this bolt here. This bottom will drop down. The cartridge will come out, and there will be 3 O-rings. The little small one goes on the inside stem up in the cap. The middle size one goes here in the bottom cap, and the big one goes up inside the top there, and then you just push it all back together, and then you tighten this bolt up until it sandwiches up. On this top here, after getting in there and looking, these 2 ports here, they just go straight into the cap here. There's no milling out for that. But these back 2 ports on each side there, they'll come in and go to that little nipple or spout that comes down that you put your O-ring on, and that's where the gravity feeds the diesel in through here, fills up your canister, and then comes up that little spout and then goes into these 2 ports here. Both of them go to your injector pump. Now there is a bolt here on the top back whenever you replace this filter, you are to crack this open and let the fuel drain, and then it'll start coming out around that bolt, and then you tighten it back up. That purges out all of the air in your canister. So right now the tractor is warmed up so it will crank, and I've already had it running. So make sure you have a good hot battery if you have to purge these injectors, because it'll sure take up a battery. This injector pump does not have a primer pump that you can manually pump. So you'll have to sit there and twist on it and break each injector loose to let the air out. And then once you get that purged out, it'll start running fine. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment, and I'll do what I can to help you out. Thank you, and God bless.